I want to talk about why I feel the Miami Hurricanes will win the ACC Coastal Division this season. Now, Manny Diaz has been the head coach for the Miami Hurricanes for a good minute, and I think that this is finally the year that we see Manny Diaz put everything together and finally get Miami back to the ACC Conference Championship game this year. This is the best team that Manny Diaz has had during his time as the head coach for the Miami Hurricanes. And I also feel like this is the best team that the Miami Hurricanes have put on the field in a very long time. As a matter of fact, I think it's better than that team that won 10 games back in, 2017, I believe it was, with Malik Rozier at QB. So I think this team is more talented than that 2017 team. You look at Derek King returning at QB, along with offensive coordinator Rhett Lashlee going into his second year with the program. I'm really excited to see this offense take the next step. Derek King, a lot of people have questions about how he's going to look returning from that injury that he suffered in the bowl game a couple of months ago against Oklahoma State. But according to the reports I've been reading coming out of fall camp for Miami, Derek King has looked really good. He's also been really good running with the football as well. So a lot of people think that Derek King is 100% or at least somewhere close to being 100% ready for the season opener against Alabama. And a lot of people are really confident that Derek King is going to be the same player that he was last season, this season as well. You also got to look at the fact that Miami improved the wide receiving position, which was the biggest weakness on this offense last year. You had a lot of inconsistency there. Aside from Mike Harley, you had a lot of drops, a lot of, just not really a lot of great production there. So what do you do to improve the wide receiving position? Where you get Charleston Rambo transferred from OU from the transfer portal. That's definitely a big help. Now you have him and Mike Harley, which is probably one of the best 1-2 punches in the wide receiver room in the whole entire ACC. Then you also got D. Wiggins, Mark Pope, which those guys are pretty solid players. I think they do provide good depth. So the offensive line also, I think that Miami has the second best offensive line in the ACC, either the second best or the best offensive line, depending on who you ask. This offensive line has a good amount of experience. It's going to be led by offensive tackle Zion Nelson, who as of right now is projected to be a first-round pick in next year's 2022 NFL Draft. Some mock drafts have him going in the top 10. Some mock drafts have him going like top 15, top 20 pick. So this offensive line is the best offensive line that Miami has had in some years. And the offensive line for Miami has always been a growing pain over the last couple of years. But it looks like they finally have the offensive line figured out going into this year, which is why I'm really excited, because now with an improved offensive line, it's going to give the wide receivers more time to get open. The running game is also going to be great this year. But the running game for Miami has been great for over the last couple of years, despite not having the best offensive line play. And I'm really excited about how this running back room looks right now, because I think Miami has one of the best running back rooms in all of college football, and I don't think enough people talk about it. Everybody's talking about, the depth that Georgia and Alabama have in their RB room, but I definitely think that you can put Miami in that same conversation. You have Cameron Harris, who is a monster. You have Jalen Knighton. You have Dan Chaney Jr., like really talented running back room. And I think a lot of people in the college football world are going to take notice how deep this RB rotation is once the season kicks off. Now, you look at tight end, you have Will Mallory there, who probably is the best tight end in the ACC. He's going to be taking over for Brevin Jordan, who declared for the NFL Draft. So I'm really excited about how this offense looks. I'm expecting a lot of big things out of this offense. This probably could end up being one of the best offenses in college football, because you look at the big impact that Rhett Lashlee had year one. And you got to remember, Miami at the time before Rhett Lashlee got there, their offense was really underwhelming. They struggled to move the ball down the field. They weren't great converting on third down. So you bring in Rhett Lashlee, in just 1 year, he just completely changes the offense. And also, he did it during a COVID year. He wasn't really able to implement the offense during, a normal off season when you have a normal spring camp, a normal fall camp. So he pretty much was doing a lot of installation on Zoom meetings and whatnot. So for Rhett Lashlee, now that he has a normal off season to implement his offense, I think that's also going to provide a big boost as well. And I think the defense is going to be really solid also, with Manny Diaz being a defensive minded coach. You have a lot of experience in the secondary. You bring in Tyreek Stevenson from the transfer portal, transferring from the University of Georgia. You still have DJ Ivy, to Corey Couch, Al Blades. You got Bubba Bolden at safety. So this is a really experienced secondary that Miami has. And I think linebacker should be pretty improved as well. Linebacker was kind of a weak spot for this team, but I think it definitely is going to end up improving. Now, my concern is the defensive line and the pass rush, because you lost Quincy Roche and you lost Jalen Phillips to the NFL. But overall, I think Miami has a really talented team. I think that this is the second best team in the ACC, and that's why they're my pick to win the ACC Coastal Division this year. I know a lot of people are going to say North Carolina. That's been the popular pick amongst the majority of college football fans out there, and I understand, because you have Sam Howell, who is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Okay, Mac Brown has done a really good job with that UNC program, but UNC has lost a lot of talent, okay, on both sides of football. You lost Chaz Surratt at linebacker. You also lost two of your starting wide receivers and two of your starting running backs to the NFL. So UNC is going to have to replace a lot of production. Now, I'm not, trying to discredit and say that UNC doesn't have the talent to replace those guys. I'm just saying that it's kind of going to be a little bit difficult to replace the production that they had out of those positions that they lost. So me personally, when you look at Miami, I definitely feel like enough people aren't giving Miami the credit they deserve when it comes to the UNC comparison. All I just see people saying is, oh yeah, UNC is going to win the Coastal because they have Sam Howell. People act like the Eric King is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Now, he may not be, a highly rated NFL prospect due to his size and whatnot, but he definitely is a difference maker. So, I mean, I don't really understand why more people aren't picking Miami to win the Coastal. Maybe it's because the history that Miami has had in the past of, letting people down and disappointing. But, I mean, Miami has a better team than North Carolina. You have a lot of experience on both sides of the football compared to a North Carolina team that basically has to replace two productive running backs, even though you did bring in a running back from Tennessee who should be really good, but you still have to replace your two wide receivers in Das Newsome and Dommy Brown. And I think too many people are just giving North Carolina the benefit of a doubt just because they have Sam Howell. But you look at Miami, they have a great quarterback, one of the best in college football, and you have a really great group of wide receivers. You have a lot of experience on both sides of the football. So I really feel like Miami should end up winning the Coastal this year, and they do end up playing North Carolina, so that's going to be one of the biggest games of the year in the ACC, because that's pretty much going to decide who's going to end up playing Clemson in the ACC championship game representing the Coastal. But I feel like Miami definitely should be the popular pick, even though I don't really understand why people still keep going with North Carolina. Like, literally, somebody says UNC is going to win the Coastal, and then their explanation is they have Sam Howell. And then somebody says, okay, but they lost this and this. And they say, well, they have Sam Howell at QB, so he's going to elevate the play of the team. And I do agree with that. But at the same time, you still have to look at the fact that Miami has a lot of experience at every single position. Okay, they're loaded at wide receiver. They're loaded at running back. They have one of the best RB rooms in college football, along with a really solid offensive line. So I'm kind of having a hard time understanding why people continue to pick UNC over Miami. And I understand the coaching staff is going to, continue to develop and elevate those players as well. You're definitely going to have some guys who are going to step up and play very well. But at the same time, I just don't understand how people can pick UNC over Miami when you look at the experience that Miami returns and the depth that Miami has. So Miami is my pick to win the Coastal Division this year. You guys let me know what you guys think about this take down in the comment section down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Do you guys think that Miami is going to win the Coastal this year, or do you think that it's going to go to North Carolina?